Welcome back to Moot Point Podcast, episode
6.
And once again, I'm Amari.
And I'm Miles.
And yeah, so today gonna be a pretty heavy topic. So we're gonna try to get through it. We're going to talk about the Ice Cube situation where he was dealing with the Trump administration, dealing with kind of like a black reform. You get some brief.
Very current situation, I guess you could say. I know we haven't done news in a while. We're sticking to some more topics that we thought were important to the community. But this has brought an uproar into the community, so we're here to discuss it. I have Ice Cube right behind me, so I guess I gotta bring it up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe by the end of this, I'll tear it down. Probably not. But I guess he had drawn up a proposal and he had reached out. Well, both parties were. He said both parties reached out to him.
Yeah.
And it's like they both said they loved what he was doing. But the Democratic Party, Biden and Harris, they was like, well, we'll take a look at it later. We love it. We'll take a look at it later. Trump's administration was like, well, hey, we'll take a look now. So
yeah. So it comes down to.
I think the only reason they took a look now, it was out of desperation. Let's just see if we get some votes our way, because I don't feel like they're in favor to win, the election. So they're just trying to get whatever they can.
I feel as if when it comes to stuff like this, he said that he reached out to both parties, and the Democrats said that they wanted to wait until after the election, which everything's pretty urgent right now. And so for people are getting on Ice Cube for going to the Trump administration, the Republican side, the people that he kind of called pigs and said they were enemies, and we all kind of know how racist Trump has been in the past, how he is right now. And so there's an issue with that, but I feel as if just like I said, he's very urgent, and we're all very urgent in this movement. We're trying to get things done right now because momentum is everything. So we saw this is a period of time where there's a lot of momentum because all of our attention is shifted to look at the inequality and the injustice that's going on. No one's distracted. Everybody sees what's going on, and so this is the time when we pounce and actually hop onto it. So him working with Trump, it seems, in my opinion, I can understand why people would say that it seems like he's contradicting himself, or he's
right. Do you think it's 100% no go? We know where Trump stands. We've seen him, fail to dismiss white supremacy, on the largest stage that they can be. So it's no matter what, do you feel no matter what, it's just no working with Trump? Do you feel that way? He shouldn't have done it at all. It doesn't matter if he's in charge or not. It doesn't matter if he's the president or not. It's there's no working with him. Why would he help us? There's a lot of people. That's what a lot of people, been saying to me. Is why would Trump help us? So
what that is, just like he kind of said, he kind of defended that by saying he worked with anybody in power,
right.
Which is fine. It just so happens to be that the person in power now has been the biggest, not the biggest racist. I'm not gonna say that, but one of the biggest tools to this fuel for white supremacy as a president, and so because of that. It seems like a very bad move, but at the end of the day, he has the power currently. So to use his power to try just only for our community, if they're willing to talk and do it, maybe we can find a way to use his power to cause change. It's not as if he's
I feel to combat that, Trump. White supremacy is not a new. It's not a new thing.
Yeah,
and people, I feel people don't realize okay, these people have been here. It's not they have not these people that are his supporters. These people have been feeling the way that they're feeling. He gave them the stage and the platform to comfortably express how they're feeling. Which some people may argue is better that it's out in the open, so who's this way and who's that way. So But it's been around. Like I said, it's been around, and I feel people fail to realize it's a structured system as well. Even Trump, Trump's just fueling the people in those types of communities. But as a system, as a structure, that's what we're trying to fight. And so it's bigger than just Trump. I feel like people don't realize how deep the issue is. So
but that goes back to what we were saying last week. is like we're deciding whether we want to try to do it ourselves or we want to do it like within the system. And I feel like what he's doing is he's trying to do it within the system because there's some reality to the situation. Like yes, we would love to all be together and like just fix everything within ourselves, but we honestly, the people in power, like you said, like the system, there's people in power already that are white or a different race and like they have the ability to make changes. So if we have a chance to get in there, talk to them, get them to like co-sign what we're trying to do, that will speed up the process of us trying to maybe get more equal or get more equality like in our communities. And so with that, like there's a struggle with that. So I mean, I feel like he's just doing that part, like he's trying to do it within the system. But I mean, what you're saying is like there's a wonder if we can do it within our own community. Which I mean, do you think that's possible? I mean, you think that there was a different way for him to have like reached out? Like, could he have reached out to somebody else?
I mean, the problem I have with him reaching out is like, why would you reach out like right now? Like, election day is in like 2-3 weeks. Yeah. It's like there'll be a there'll be a winner. Like like I know both parties reach out. He said both parties reach out to him, but it's like, I mean, nothing they could do. Like nobody can do anything right now. So it's like, why would you not wait till like, I don't know, like the 10th or the 12th of next month of November to reach out? Because it's like, okay, you reach out to Trump and he loses, and it's like, I mean, when you go meet up with Trump's administration and he loses, and then it's like, yeah, I guess that was all for nothing. Like, I mean, really, he still have his opportunity to meet.
Yeah, I mean, the whole documentation of like that he had that has like all his policies and stuff like that's is well written and it's all put together. So I mean, he has everything structured like how he wants it. So this could happen very fast. Now the whole change itself, I don't know how fast that can happen, but like he has. It's not as
happen very fast.
Like all the reforms, like the police reform, the
you saying the plans in action, like
he has the
why do you
documents that has all the policies. So I'm saying when he comes and presents it, it's already put together. Like he put a lot of thought into this, and so that's why he probably wants it right now. But I'm saying because you're saying that time is in essence, like you're saying that like it could. Trump could not win, and then this could be all for nothing, which is true.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I understand the plan. I'm just saying, like, having a proposal, like proposing it, like you have it together, you can have the plan, just waiting a couple more weeks. Because I mean, it is like strange to, like, you're gonna receive backlash for going to Trump no matter what. Like, there's no way around it. You can't convince anybody. It doesn't matter what you say. Like, it doesn't matter what you're saying, who you are. If you're gonna work with Trump, you're gonna receive some backlash, which is like, I mean. It makes sense.
I mean, yeah. In the grand scheme of things, it does make sense. I kind of see both sides. I mean, it's a very difficult situation because we want change. And in certain cases, like we're not able to make the change because like we don't have enough people in power yet. And so like he's the president, and like that's like one of the biggest like faces of the country. And so if you could sit down, and Ice Cube, like he's a very popular person, so if we get a meeting, sit down, talk to the administration and say, hey, like this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to do it, and they're saying, okay, like we're gonna go ahead and try to do this right now. I mean, that could be for their benefit too, because they probably want more. They want to cater more to the black votes and like kind of shift like the whole climate of like their elections right now. Like he's losing by like a large margin.
But I don't know. I mean, they're obviously desperate, and I don't think that works. And again, to give some Ice Cube some slack, like he's desperate, we're desperate.
Exactly.
Like it's like we're running out of things to do. Like these are things like we've been doing the same thing. They have something on Netflix. I think the trial of the Chicago 7.
Oh, I just saw that.
You saw it? You watched it?
I didn't watch it. I saw it pop up.
Yeah, the trial of the Chicago 7, but it was kind of like it was 8 people on trial. It was one of the co-founders of the Black Panther Party. I can't remember his name. I had watched like the first 30 minutes or whatever. I mean, he wasn't getting defended. But if you look and watch that, it's like, you always see things in the past, and we'd be like, man, that's relevant for today.
Yeah.
That's relevant for today.
Yeah.
That was in the 60s. That's relevant for today. Yeah. It's like, okay, there was riots. The police, set a flame to the riots. Like they got the people going. They always take it from peaceful to turn it up. I mean, the riots, like we don't have the weapons and stuff. Like y'all have the weapons and stuff. Y'all got the the manpower, the task force to do these things. So it's again, it was another one of those situations. It's just like, dang, like that was like, man, that's 70 years ago, 60 years ago, and it's like they're doing the same things we was doing. It's like, well, let's do something different, and that's why like. I understand, like, we can critique him and there's things that happen. First of all, we had the episode about, well, it wasn't strictly about that, but about the cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think we should cancel Ice Cube at all. I don't think he's on Trump's side. I mean, he's articulated that after a couple of interviews. He's not on Trump's side.
He said that for the past couple of years.
Yeah, he's not on Trump's side, but they say, like, bipartisan, I guess, is what the word is, and he's trying to work for both parties.
It's when you reach out to both parties, and then like whatever it jumps on them.
I feel like he should have he could have avoided this backlash, like just waiting a few weeks. Cause now it's like people are not going to certain people are not going to even listen. Like they're going, like we said, people going to cancel him out right now, and they're not going to listen to the plan. They're going to the proposal is bogus just because of the fact that he wanted to wait it for Trump when there could have been another option in like 3 weeks. So I feel like if he would have waited, like I know we're in a like state of panic, we're just trying to get something out, which is why I commend the plan of action again. But if he would have just waited like 3 weeks, like he could have received a lot less backlash. You know what I'm saying? Depending, because if Trump wins and he did it, it's like, okay, well, Trump won, so Trump will be the president for the next 4 years. So I mean, who else could he reach out to? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we are in a real, like, that is a weird predicament because you're trying to help the black community by going to somebody who doesn't support the black community and then in turn angering the black community.
Right. Especially, it's like, the timing was just, I mean, that was the worst thing about it was the timing. Like, it's just awful. Like,
but what's so wrong about the timing, though? That's like, I mean,
because it's like Trump's might not even be in a place to do anything in the next few weeks. So it's like,
but what's the speed? Like how fast do you think?
No, if there was
these could be implemented.
Honestly, I don't really think. I mean, because have we not have people in power, like black people? I mean, we're not going to be in a majority of power. We have black people now. We have them in the Senate. In the House of Representatives. So I mean, we have those people in power. But I mean, like I just said, we've been pushing for the same things for years. It's not new. None of this is new under the sun. Like. We got the spotlight on it because of Corona.
Yeah, that's what
which
I'm
is
saying.
like
So this
is the spotlight. It's on Corona. I guess brought it to the forefront of everyone's mind, and like it's hard to get away from now. You know what I'm saying? Because not that much is going on. So that's what was the question? You asked me what was the timing? Like, what was that about the timing? I mean, like
I feel as if you can say. Cause, you can say the timing is bad, which I mean. You can argue that, like, I mean, you already know me. I could always jump on both sides. So I mean, I think, I mean, I can see how the timing could be bad because, like you said, like it's 3 weeks. Like, what should you do in 3 weeks? But then again, what can you possibly do in 3 weeks? Like, what can be done? Like, what if something could be?
Oh, they can't implement. You're thinking
now.
that you're saying that
like he wants it right now. That's why he has everything together. Like he wants it right now, and so that's why he's trying to go to somebody who's in power right now.
Definitely not. You saying that? Do I feel that they would implement these things before the presidency term is up?
I have it in the works. And then how does that work when you transfer over? Because if you're implementing it and like they're putting it in the community, like they already have some of the orders. I highly doubt that even if Joe Biden and Harris, like even if they win, I highly doubt that they're gonna push away like what was being done already. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's in the motion. I thought he's going to continue in motion. I think.
Oh no! I think that's not how politics works at all.
But
it's like they were saying. Okay, they got Mitch McConnell. He's like, I guess like one of the leaders of the Senate or the House. I don't know, but like he has a whole bunch of files and documents on his desk. But they're trying to push for another Supreme Court justice, a conservative justice, to outweigh like the Supreme Court, like 6 conservatives, 3 liberals or whatever you call it. So it's like they're trying to push that. Just that agenda, and they're like ignoring a whole bunch of other agendas, like like the stimulus and other things that that they were promising, and like they're ignoring that because they're trying to get this done in case they leave. Because it's a collective effort for the party, like so. People are getting told. Well, the story is like, okay, Obama wanted to, he wanted to elect someone, another judge, a Supreme Court judge. But when he wanted to do that, it was 18 months before the election.
Mm-hmm.
So he had 18 months before the election or 12 months before the election. And they was like, well, that's too close to another election. We're not going to allow you to do that. But now this is like weeks ahead of the election, and they're allowing Trump to do that. And it's like, you know, people tell me like, that's why we have to vote more. You know, we need to get more Democrats. I mean, because like, you know, I mean, the president has checks and balances like they told us, supposedly. You know, Trump seems like, Trump doesn't seem like he has any checks and balances. Like,
well, he thinks he doesn't.
I mean, yeah, he thinks he does. I mean,
the way he speaks is as if he doesn't.
I mean, yeah, he speaks like he does. I mean, it seems like he does or whatever, but I mean, there's checks and balances, so it's like, we didn't get out there and vote. I've been told we didn't get out there and vote. So, like, when Obama was in office, because another backlash that Ice Cube received that I heard, because he said no presidents has ever done anything for black people.
I mean, that's a common. But that's a common statement. I mean, people always bring up Obama and everything, and like they bring up like some ideas behind that, saying that he really didn't help the black community, that he focused more on like the LGBTQ community, which is fine, like we're all for that, but he's saying that like when it came to actually helping the black community, that he wasn't able to actually do it in the way that he was saying it. But I feel personally that the majority of presidents that are trying to do things, like, it's very difficult to flip a whole like all that systematic racism. Like, it's hard to change all that in 8 years. There's not enough time to do all that. So I feel like he had some things in the works, and some things probably were even denied, and it's very difficult.
And that's what I was saying. Like, that's what I was getting to from that last point. Like, a lot of things they were saying, a lot of things for Obama was getting denied because based of you know, the people that we had in the party, you know, in both parties, sitting in the House, you know, and like you said, the Supreme Court that got denied. So I mean, it's difficult to navigate, but it's like, I mean, people are impatient. Like you said, you said you think it takes more than 8 years for these policies to be changed, but you were saying that you think that
I'm saying
that these policies can be changed before Trump get out. That's why I'm like, ain't no way. Like, Trump can't and won't do anything
more so
before.
To put it in and to get things like running, because I feel as if, like, I mean, this may be even naive for me to think, but I feel as if, like, with the situation, like, even though that's not how politics completely work, I feel like in the state of the country, I feel like we should kind of like shy away from that and just actually just focus on like what he's trying to do. I feel like if we do it with Trump and like he says yes, and like they start working on it and start implementing it, which I think go more into policies to see how that like the beginning stages even look. But after that, I think even if Trump were to lose, I really feel as if like Cube could like go to Joe Biden and talk to him, and he's gonna be as receptive, unless he's a complete fool. But
I mean, apparently they were saying that people also say that. I mean, I don't know if you want to do an episode on this, maybe not. But okay, we have Ice Cube's plan, and they were saying a lot of the things that he had, you know, Joe Biden has in his plan. Like, people were like, did you review his plan of action? You know what I mean? I listen to talk shows. My mom picks me up, you know, so she listen to talk show radio and stuff, and you know, I get a little knowledge from that. But she was saying like, they're saying like, you know, Joe Biden has some of these policies, but it's like, to me, I'm like, well, is he the first person with policies towards us? Like, it's not about writing it down. Like, are these real plans, or like, are actions going to be put in place? Like, and that's what it is. Like, people say, man, I ain't trying to politic with you, because it's like a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo. Like,
yeah, like, they don't believe it. Like, it's like everything is like trying to deceive you, trying to make you vote for something, or trying to believe, like, get you to believe, because it's a movement. They want you to believe in what they're saying and believe in them and believe in the change. And so I could empathize with like how he's feeling, like how he, even if Joe Biden has stuff in there, because I sometimes watch the debates and I watch the things that are said and what people are saying. I'm just like, I mean, we've heard some of this before already. So it's like for him to come and say like, no, like, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna make sure like this gets done. I think that's the point of what he's trying to do. Now, the way he executed it, I mean, it does seem kind of, but we're all kind of desperate, but it does seem kind of desperate.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell people. He's reaching out a point of desperation. Like, it's like he should have took his time, you know, met with some people of the Black caucus. He could have met with Kamala Harris, you know, hopefully future vice president. Apparently she reached out to him and other rappers for a meeting in California, and he didn't attend. There's been no explanation behind that.
I mean, people.
That was a while ago. I don't
People
know
struggle.
about that.
People struggle with like her acceptance, like in terms.
I mean,
of,
and then
like,
apparently on the radio show, there's like,
yeah.
I mean, she's not to blame for all, you know, what was it, like her doing the 3 strikes law?
Yeah, all the arrests and stuff.
All the arrests, yeah.
I mean,
apparently she's not to be to blame for that. I mean, someone was breaking it down. I'll try to find.
Yeah, but that's why people were so like, even if like she's a black vice president, like a black woman vice president running, there is that where they're saying that, you know, how for the community is she if she did these things in the past, like
right.
Like even with Joe Biden, they say how, like, you know, how for the black community is he in the past,
and that's the thing I'm trying to argue. Like, if you look back far enough, I mean, people could change. Joe Biden was racist too.
I mean, yeah,
he was racist too,
yeah.
And not just the 1992 crime reform bill. Like, he was racist, like, you know. So it's like, okay, well, that's why people don't want to vote. It's like it's splitting hairs. Like, they don't really believe in voting. I mean, one, because like, okay, both candidates have, you know, we've seen their work. Like, you know, they both, like, everyone's gonna have positives and negatives, but it's feel like we automatically, like, Joe Biden's negatives it's like we don't think anything of it anymore because, like, how bad we dislike Trump. Like,
I mean, yeah, and Trump kind of showed his true colors, and like there's an attempt, even what Joe Biden did in the past, which we kind of talk about voting in the past, like, you know, going over the policies, not what they believe in. He's making an attempt to help the community. Like, he's making an attempt to right the wrongs of like what was done in the past, even things that he said. That's why Trump, you know, that's why, well, not just Trump, but people are trying to say that he's contradicting himself, like a lot of things he's saying because what he did in the past. But I feel as if, like you said, people can change, and he's trying to turn the leaf, like he's trying to help a community. Because like we are in a time where people were pretty ignorant to what was going on, which is crazy, but people were pretty ignorant about what was going on, and now people are becoming more knowledgeable, and so there's some changes happening because of that. But something else that we can jump into when it comes to this is how the separation between the black community, like during the interview, you and I both saw how he was saying how he's not focused on the whole minority or the whole minority or black community. He's focused on specifically people who are descendants of slaves.
right.
And so we were talking as if I think we had separate beliefs, but I feel as if, like, if we're already separating, because there is separation between white and black now. I mean, there's some tension between there. I mean, obviously, it's not like a hard, fine line. There's a thin line, but like there is some separation because of what's been going on. And so because of that, do we want to separate the black community even more? Because in my opinion, I feel like every single, like, the majority of the minority, like, cultures or ethnicities, they have some form of racism in there. Like, they have some sense of slaves within them. And so when he says that he's just focused on, like, strictly, like, that, he's not focused on every single person. He's focused on, like, a specific group. So I feel like we're cutting the black community even more when we need,
you feel like we're cutting the black community because he said the descendants, he's worried about the descendants of slaves, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you think he's only talking about descendants of American slaves?
Yeah, I think it's more so, well,
because we know,
can we talk about AOD?
I mean, we know there were slaves, I guess, in South America. If people know South America, you know, like, and it's the Caribbean islands, like, we know that there were slaves there. So do you think he's excluding those people, like, you know, Jamaicans, Haitians, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans? You think he's excluding all those people? Or do you think he's, like, just talking about American, like, people that were on the soil of America?
I think it's focused on, because, I mean, from the they're saying that he's more so from a perspective with ADOS, which we could post that, is the American descendants of slavery. And so, I mean, he's not repping it, obviously he's not saying it, but I guess some of the beliefs are saying that it aligns with that. And so it's more focused on, yeah, like, America, like the history of America and how, like, you know, economically, white people use slaves, treat them as like cattle or as like goods to help improve like the economy and improve like their own wealth. And because of that, he may be focused on just that. But I feel as if because America is so intertwined with everything, I feel like we should, like, we all have hardships in some way, shape, or form. And so, like, we should all include each other, because if not, it would divide even more. Then, you know, are we just doing the same thing? if we divide ourselves?
I mean, I don't see how it's dividing ourselves. Like, what is dividing? Him saying only, like, not minorities, or is it the descendants of slaves, not including other people that potentially have slaves? Because, I mean, it's all types of minorities. It's Asian minorities.
Well, yeah.
It's Indian minorities. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, I guess Hispanic minorities. It's all types of minorities. So you're saying excluding those type of minorities, or excluding the other descendants of slaves?
The other descendants of slaves, because I mean, because if you look at it, the majority, like a lot of the minority groups, they have slavery history, like their ancestry has slavery in it, and some
like the three groups I just named.
Yeah, like even Hispanics, like they had slavery. Like for example, Puerto Ricans, like they're Indian, African, and they're Spaniard, and like there's an intertwine of that, and there was slavery over there in like Latin America and stuff. And so the same way with Caribbeans, like we speak about that, like there was slavery with that. But these things aren't centered in America, but
that's what I was asking you. Do you think he's excluding those groups, or do you think he's excluding like the Asians and like, you know, I guess like maybe Mexicans or like, you know, Indians, like anything like of that nature? Like, you think he's excluding them, or you think he's excluding the other people? Like, because we know people that have direct black slave, you know, heritage. Like you said, people from the islands.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, it's kind of a confusing thing, because I mean he kind of didn't state it. But I mean the way he made it seem was that he made it seem as if like he's putting a hard like he's only including a small group of specific people. Like that's the way he made it seem. I mean, you and I both in the video, like that's how he made it seem, because he made a point to say like we're not focused on everyone. We're only focused on like this group, which is fine because this group has been excluded. Like the black community has been excluded for a long time. But I just feel as if like in this movement we need as many people as possible that are on our side, and so to kind of exclude certain groups, like why do that? Because we're already cutting things in half.
So would you
now.
be okay with him excluding those groups, like, you know, Asians and
I mean,
there's others like Asians? I mean, I don't really know if they have.
That's what I'm saying. I really don't know
struggles on.
Yeah. I mean,
Indians or like
and then that's
Mexicans. Do you feel like he's divisive for not including, like, okay, just strictly like I guess Mexicans or Hispanics? Like, you think he's wrong for not including them in his plan?
I mean, me personally, I do, but that's because I know the history of Hispanics. Like me being like half Puerto Rican, like I know that like there's slavery in there, and I know that there's hardship in there. However, I'm also aware of like within the Hispanic community, some Hispanics aren't aware of their history, and so because
there's two lines in that. So there's not enough representation when it comes to Hispanics, like Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Cubans, or Dominicans, all that stuff. And because of that, like people kind of see what they see. So some Hispanics like sit on the white side, while others sit on the black side.
Right.
And so because of that, and there's no representation, or like there's no like establishment of like our
what
history, like what I am, and there's some confusion,
And that's
that kind of divides. Okay, like they're like that's why people say, oh, black people and Hispanics. But I feel in some cases there's a lot of Hispanics that are black.
right.
Like I'm one of them, and so because of that, I feel like it's bad on both sides. I feel like as like people part of the Hispanic community, you gotta know your history, and you have to kind of know where you stand. And on top of that, people have to be more accepting of these communities. So
yeah, I mean, but it's like, I mean, that's what slavery did. Like, we can't identify. Like, a lot of us can't
it was
identify.
the struggle,
you know,
yeah.
Like, I mean, like, okay, like, so y'all are mixed. You know, like y'all are mixed now. So it's like, what am I? And it's like, okay, well, I don't know. I always struggle because I don't know where I came from. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm just a black African American. I can't say, oh yeah, like we never had any, I guess, like culture. Like we wasn't like secluded enough to have any culture and develop another culture after we were brought here. Like, like I feel like, you know, Jamaicans were fortunate enough to, you know, they stayed in the island, so okay, they got some culture to them. You know, they do their own thing. You know, Puerto Ricans, they got some culture to them, but it's like Americans, like we all, it's like I feel like we're just very lost when it comes to that. But honestly, I don't think he was wrong for his proposal being about black people. I don't know what his definition is of black people, and that's the definition we all struggle with, because it's like Is it just dark skin tone? Is it like
Yeah,
just descendants of African? It's like,
like
okay, is there a
pigmentation
percentage of African that you need to be like, or is just like, okay, this is the more dominant gene. So like, if you got anything over a quarter, you're automatically that. It's like, I mean, it's hard to identify as that. So I mean, I don't have a problem with his proposal being. It's not like he's saying, man, F your problems. I mean, just like I feel like it's just like with the Black Lives Matter movement. If we're saying Black Lives Matter, and they be like, all lives matter. Like, yeah, we like that's a given. Like, but the proposal that he was presenting, is structured towards.
But I feel as if like this is, it's not really synonymous because it's not as if like it's saying, oh, like we have problems too. We're saying that we have similar issues as well, and so because of that. Like, for example, I mean, we live in Georgia, but if you go to New York, if you go like stay in like Bronx or like the Queens or something, and like there's a mixture of black people and like black and Hispanic people, and they all struggle the same way. They are like, if you talk about the system, they are seen in the same way,
right.
The same light. Now, I mean the whole group of people may be seen differently because, like you said, like talk about like your pigment, like your skin color. The Hispanics, like, they vary, but in black people they vary also. Africans, they vary also, and so because of that, like, I think like the amount of representation when it comes to Hispanics, they're like lighter skin tone also because of the confusion of like the culture and the mixture of everything that leads to the idea that like there aren't similar struggles, which I feel as if like they are. Because for example, me being one that's like I'm black. Like my dad is black, my mom is Puerto Rican, and because of that, I see both sides, and I see some similarities in the two.
I mean, there's similarities in the struggle. Like, you know, there's more people struggling, and I mean, there's white people struggling too, but we don't ever bring that up. Like, and I'm glad that you say that because people really need to realize that, like, it's a system. Like, it's a system thing. It's more of a power and money system. Like, they don't really care about white people either. Like, obviously, you know, we receive a lot more backlash, and like, because you're white, you get privileged automatically. But like, as a system, like, I feel like it's like, you know, it's like a poor middle class thing. It's like a super rich thing, and these people gonna do whatever to get rich, and they're gonna do whatever to, you know, keep you poor and keep you working for them for the cheapest. And they really don't care about it either, because although, you know, blacks are more affected by the coronavirus, like, it's still white people. You know, they're still out here dying too. Like. So I mean, I feel like it's a system issue, but the system is like the reins are way harder on us than it is for others. So that's why I feel like he brought the proposal. He's a black man, so he brought the proposal for what he sees in his community or what he feels like that he needs to address specifically for us. I mean, I don't see a problem with it.
I don't see a problem with it, but like I'm just saying, like, I don't see a problem with the proposal. The whole business seemed that way because I never obviously
not with the proposal, but the fact that it was only structured.
I have a problem with excluding the black community, like things within the black. Like I'm all for, like, if we're all struggling, that we all stick together and try and figure out a solution. I'm thinking more so like we're already divided, and so like don't divide the black community even more. That's all I'm saying, because like when we talk about race and ethnicity, it's two different things, and so when somebody sees me, they'll say I'm black because I am black, like, but I also have a culture that's Puerto Rican, and so is somebody gonna say, oh well, you're Puerto Rican, so you're not black enough, and so you can't do this? That's like, it's like that would kind of go against like our.
I mean, I don't think he's saying that. The thing is, like, the definition of black, like, it's no. Certain definition. That's why people be like, race is a social construct or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real definition.
There's no definition as far as like, excuse me. That's why you have to go to the most extreme, like, I guess, definition. Like, it should be descendants of, you know, like Africans, like descendants of Africans, like, so descendants of slaves, and you know the Hispanics. I was saying the Hispanics from the islands, Caribbeans, they are included in that. If that's the definition, like descendants of African slaves, like. That would be the definition. That's why I feel like it's so strict. But I don't feel like.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't have a problem with like he's targeting like just that group.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like me personally, I don't think like they came off that way, and I think that's the issue with some because like right now we're just discussing like different viewpoints that people are saying, like different critiques they have with what's going on, and I just feel as I kind of see what they're saying. I feel like there's like a more deeper like form of inclusion or exclusion. Like it's just more deeper than that. I mean, I would be fine with that. Like, you know, everybody who's just descendants of slaves, because there's a lot of people here who are descendants of slaves that their history kind of spans outside of America, but they still go through the same hardships that African American will go through. And so, like, just like you said, like Jamaicans and stuff. I mean, people like these, like, you know, these police officers and stuff. Like they see people with dark skin or darker skin, they get treated like all the same way. And so we go through the same hardships. But you talk about economically, there's a quote unquote minority in everything, and so this is something that I just learned. So I learned in school, like when it came to psychology. So like when it comes to economics, the minorities obviously people who are poor, like the poverty, and when it comes to race, the minority. Well, they say that like the minority is the black communities, and then they say with like men and women, the minority is the women, like in terms of rights and how they're treated, and so that's why they say that like people who are like that's why you kind of say like people who are black and like don't have a lot more money, they still don't get the privileges that a poor white person would get, and on top of that, they don't have the money to like take them to higher like a higher situation, like a better situation. And so I mean, I do agree with that part. Like the hardships are different because there are. I mean, and also there is economic
judgment. Like as a black person, when you see black, it doesn't matter like that you're successful.
Yeah,
you're gonna like you still gonna get.
That's what I'm saying.
Too.
So like we speak about money, like finances. Yeah, it does play a part, but I feel like also being part of a community that's already like very oppressed, and then not having money, that's just like a double-edged sword. Like it's even harder versus. So I mean, money does play a part, but I feel like there's so many different parts and pieces to this puzzle that like adds to like people's struggles and like their suffering.
Yeah, I just want to say this. I feel like it's hard to trust. Like I know it's hard to trust the government at all. Like, I mean, like okay, now we're going to proposals. Like, I mean, people were saying he should have went to it's called a Black Congressional Caucus, and that's where like a lot of the black people that are in the Senate and the House of Representatives, they have a team and they probably push these things, and that's what I was saying earlier. It's probably left on Mitch McConnell's desk because he's trying to get this other judge in for the Supreme Court. But the leader of the Black Congressional Caucus is from California, so they feel like he should have reached out to him. They just feel like he should have been more thorough with his plan. And then people always be like, well, who is he to speak for black people? He doesn't speak for me, speak for me. I've never heard of a black person like we all agreeing like, oh yeah, this is what they talking about. Like
similar to this situation. Like I mean,
they never agree like who's this person? Like, okay, well it's Malcolm. Like we ain't had nobody we even close to agreeing with like about stuff since MLK really.
I mean, that's the struggle. I mean, the struggle is the fact that like we're in America where like just like we said, programming, like we're programmed to believe and see other things. I mean, and we naturally as humans already have different perspectives. So not only do we have different perspectives, but we're also confused about like history, like what happened in the past. We're confused about like who belongs where, who belongs like if somebody belongs over here or over there. Like there's a lot of confusion just in general, and so because of that, there's gonna be so many disagreements, and there's gonna be some kind of like inconsistency in the community when it comes to us getting along, getting together, and understanding everything. And so that's why this movement is very important, and that's why we kind of even have this podcast to show that we can have different views and we can have different ideas, but we can still find a way to put these ideas together and try to form something
without canceling. Like, man, people receive so much hate and just be like, oh man. And that's what I'm saying. People don't want to listen, and that's what I was saying. Like, and I'm gonna ask you this. Well, I'm gonna ask you this now. You can answer later. Like, what do you think the worst part of the proposal was? Like that you disagree with the least. I don't know if you were saying. Were you saying the part of exclusion, or like the divisiveness between, the ethnicity groups? That's what you feel like the worst is.
No, I mean, and so even with that, that's not even like a heavy.
No, I was just asking like, what you think is the worst part.
I mean, I would have to, sit down and like read it over and over and over again to really like get.
No, not necessarily. Not.
Just we talking about with the critiques.
Yeah. Like, what do you think? Like, if you could critique his move, like I said, mine is the timing. the timing of it, like that's my critique, my biggest critique of it. Like, what would yours be?
I mean, you're more familiar with the political side of how that works, so the timing seems very valid. I think mine would be the fact that like we want to like I think it's a perfect time for us to establish what is what, or try to figure out, or try to like kind of like clear up the blurriness of the situation of like who belongs where, or like who we trying to help and what we trying to help and how we're trying to do it. So I mean, I guess like yeah, it would be that it would be more focused on like thinking about what is black, like what is that, and like trying to include. I mean, because I want to make sure that the whole black community is together, because we're already kind of, like you said, we're kind of divided when it comes to opinions, it comes to like tactics and like what we should do. People complain about this, but then again, somebody's doing that and they say, oh well, I would have done it differently, stuff like that.
It's like, so, man, I mean, like these people, and that's all I explained. Like, okay, he's saying he should have reached out to this person, that person. Oh, he should have reached out to this person, that person. Then those persons should have already been doing it and already said what he said. If he was reaching out to them, then they would have already been doing it. That's why I was like, man, and that's why people be like, oh yeah, none of the presidents have done anything for us. It's like, okay, we've been reaching out to people. We have been having plans. It's like, we haven't just felt this way before. As black people, a lot of black people, we haven't been, like, this is not new to us. Like, these struggles are not new to us. We're not like, but I mean, even it didn't just hit us like, oh, dang.
But I mean, even then, like, for like people to say that Obama didn't do much, it's just, I mean, it's not true. I mean, it's
about
it's a struggle to even say that, because like you can't say that he like obviously he didn't change everything, but he obviously didn't like not do anything. I feel like there's like a middle ground in that, but I also feel as if like just the whole idea of him being the first black president, I feel like
system. It's not like the range was completely
that like
free.
Shifted a lot of things. Hence is why we are where we are now, because I feel like because of that, Trump became president. Some backlash that comes with that, and that's why, like, and that's why we're all like the way we are right now, because of like what that represented. Like a black man as president, the person that you probably thought would never be a president, like he was the president.
Like, white supremacy hates like black men in power. Like not even on being all sexist and misogynist, but it's like, I mean, if you're honestly thinking about it, like what would be the most fearful? Like you see, a black man, outspoken, he's intelligent, like that's fearful, because I mean, I guess as a global sense, like you could say the world is sexist globally, like, or misogynistic globally. So it's like they want to tear down the structure. Like obviously we need women supporters. Women are very important in our community, and they obviously lead a lot of things right now. They're very outspoken, about even more outspoken than us, which is a fault to being a black man. Like we have to be more outspoken and stuff. But it's like they fear that, like MLK, like they couldn't allow that. Malcolm X, they couldn't allow that. Khalid Muhammad, they couldn't allow that. Like, and it's like, I mean, I guess that's another subject, another thing.
I mean,
but I just feel like it's a target. It's like always a target on your back. I mean, it's very difficult being. I had read a post talking about it's easy to tear, the black person down because his people will always help you do it, and that.
I mean, it makes sense.
That's pretty deep. So I mean, I understand, like we're critiquing him, but we gotta understand he was reaching out for a plan out of like, well, what do you call it? He was just like he wanted to do something. Like he was, I guess, like panic, like desperation is the word I'm looking for. He was just desperate. Like I know obviously it was a bad idea, and personally I feel like he should have just waited, and that would have changed the backlash. Because I mean, like I said, these things weren't going to change in these next 3 weeks. Is how I feel personally. It's not like Trump's like, oh yeah. Hey, get this done for me. Like,
I mean, he's gonna try to get it done though, because like
I mean, I try to get it. It's how can he try to get it done?
Because it benefits like his campaign. Like he's gonna try to.
What can you do? Like what can you do?
The question is, what can you do? I mean, that.
Like you said, it takes 8 years to change. I mean, it's like, honestly, it shouldn't even take this long for things like they're thinking about things that are like givens, but. I mean, these plans are very deep. They said Joe Biden already has a plan. We should look at that and compare the two. But, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about all that. I mean, like we said in these other episodes, man, that cancel culture, like, we canceling one another and just be so quick. That's what you shut your ears off when you don't mess with somebody. Like somebody coming to you, you talking, strangers talking to you, and after a few seconds, and they keep talking to you, like, man, I don't even know you. I don't care what you're talking about. And that's like, if you don't really care what somebody talking about, you're definitely not gonna listen. Or you feel like in a certain way towards someone, you're not gonna listen. And that's what happens when you cancel somebody. Like you're not listening. Like it's not like he took an action and he has a plan that has some good points. And even people that received it, like that gave him out the backlash, they were like, okay, well, there's some valid things in here. We just don't like the way that you went about it. Okay, you're gonna be critiqued, but it's like, I'm saying, we so hard on each other, and it's like, well, we need to be so hard. If you're gonna be so hard on each other, we gotta be so hard on each other about everything. Like, we gotta be like in all aspects. Like, if that's what we want to do, is like we only do it for certain things. But like,
I feel like
if you want to have that standard, like you gotta have that standard about us at all times. Like, whatever you want to do, like it's like, just like, just with everything. Like, I don't want to seem like, oh,
I mean,
I'm conservative, but like, just.
Yeah, my thing is, if you want to be hard, I feel like we should be hard on everything besides when we're trying to improve things in the
Right.
community.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
that's what we're the hardest on, when like, we're trying to help each other, we're trying to improve stuff in the black community. But us, like, how we treat ourselves and how we, treat others, are like, what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing as far as like working or like, trying to get a craft or anything else? Is like, okay, we're a little loose, like, we make excuses for that. But like, when it comes to like trying to help us, we're like, man, hell no. Like,
it's like
what?
It's
anything
like,
positive is like,
it's
like, why is all the backlash for the positive stuff? Like, all right, have some backlash for like every, other things as well. Like, so.
I mean,
I feel like.
I mean, it should be more positive when it comes to us trying to better the black community, and then when it comes to other things, like, I mean,
just being understanding. We talked about this.
I mean, being like more empathetic, more understanding, being aware of like your inner programming or stereotypes or all those things. We discussed those in the last podcast, but I mean,
go check those out if you haven't seen it. You just tuning in.
Yeah,
some good stuff there.
And make sure you guys share the video if y'all like it.
Share, like, subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
I know you're mad at me. I'm not taking this poster down. He holding it down. We're gonna hold it down.
Yeah. But this is a pretty heavy topic, so we try the best to try and touch on every every subject of it, every critique. But yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and stop because of time. Thank you for watching Move Point Podcast. We speak with the people and not for the people. See you again next week.